Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a new series where I talk about weird things from the internet. To start off, let's talk about this. Sitting and Smiling is a series of YouTube videos and live streams by Benjamin Bennett. Posting his first Sitting and Smiling video in 2014, Bennett would continue to upload videos about once a week to this day. The videos consist of him sitting and smiling at a camera for about 4 consecutive hours. Aside from the general absurdity of that premise, his videos have gained notoriety for a few incidents that have happened on stream, including a video where he visibly urinates himself on stream and lets it evaporate over the next few hours, or a few videos where he seems to break down and cry. But the most notable incident was when a robber tried to break into Benjamin's house while he was streaming, and what he saw seems to have scared him away.
Hello?
When asked why he does this, he said, "There isn't really a purpose, and it just seems like something the internet was lacking." Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. Everyone remembers in December of 2017, Logan Paul became the most hated man on the internet, after posting an incredibly disrespectful video of him in Japan's Aokigahara forest. Less than a month later, a strange channel with over 500,000 followers called Pop Blast posted a video called, "I think Shane Dawson is a... Here's my proof." And yes, these two things are related. Pop Blast seemed like a celebrity clip channel, so the video honestly just seemed like a run-of-the-mill rumor, although a particularly slanderous one. The proof in the video was nothing, a lot of poor jokes taken out of context, but not any evidence. But it blew up so much that Shane felt the need to actually respond to it, debunking all the claims made in the video. After Shane's response video, Pop Blast took down the video accusing him and posted 3 strange videos in its place. The first video, titled Receipts, shows a PayPal transaction for $6,500 from Jeffrey Oscar Levin. That's the name of Logan Paul's manager. The next 2 videos were titled Apology and They Made Me Do It. Apology was just some code and static that I'll talk about in a moment, and They Made Me Do It showed instructions on making the slanderous video. ACII code was being read over the background of all 3 of these videos, and each of the translations were this. People watching the situation got the idea that what Pop Blast was trying to imply was that they had been paid off by Logan Paul's manager to make a video accusing Shane Dawson, probably to take all of the hate that Logan was receiving at the time and take it off him and put it onto Shane, get us distracted. After this, they posted a few more strange videos, before just posting a bunch of videos stolen from other YouTube channels with really creepy names. Presumably because of all those copyright violations, their account got terminated shortly after, but people on Reddit did a little digging. This is what their YouTube about used to say. And more interestingly, they'd only recently changed their name to Pop Blast. Only a few months before this incident, they were a Jacob Sartorius fan account? Welcome to Weird Wide Web, where I talk about weird things from the internet. Kanye Quest 3030 was published to the RPG Maker site in 2013. It gained some popularity due to its references to current memes. In the game, you play as Kanye West and fall into a portal that takes you to the year 3030, where the US has been taken over by a clone of Lil B. You meet other big-name artists in the game and either team up with them or have to fight them Pokemon style. Early on in the game, a woman asks you, "What do you want to do?" and you can type in any response. Whatever you type in, she'll say it back to you in a silly way, and overall this encounter does nothing to the game. But 2 years after the game's release in 2015, one player found that if you type "ascend," the game will take you to a hidden location. Here you're taken to a pyramid-shaped location with a bunch of terminals strewn around. Your avatar is no longer Kanye West, but a white butterfly, and here the game tells you that the game you've been playing up until now was a front for this. Was Kanye Quest 3030 actually created by a cult in order to recruit more members? This will most likely be a 3-parter. Interacting with any of the terminals in that room would give you this screen. Each one was numbered with Roman numerals, and you were prompted to put in a password. Here's a list of all the passwords. There was also an exit south of you that would take you to a small room that only contained a QR code. Scanning the QR code takes you to a website that doesn't exist, although the rumor has it that the site was an IP logger that would send your IP address to the cult. Back in the main room, after you enter all the terminal's passwords correctly, you ascend to a pure white room where you have a brief battle with an invisible monster called JFZZJNMS. After this, you reach a final terminal that asks you if you really want to ascend. They tell you to enjoy the next 2 weeks. They will be interacting with your possessions and they will be trying to contact you. If you say yes, you're ready to ascend, it asks for your full name and home address. Obviously, any sane person would be reluctant to give away personal information like that, but one YouTuber did. And he dove quite deep down the rabbit hole. So who's crazy enough to give away all their personal information like that? YouTuber Mama Max. He put it in to see if anything happened, but nothing did. Going into the game code, he found that the game doesn't even connect to the internet, so the game isn't sending your information anywhere after you put it in. To me, that's the biggest clue this was all just a very elaborate ARG. But that doesn't mean it ends here. This image appears a few times throughout the game in the game's trailer. That's the symbol for Ascensionism, a religion that mainly revolves around the idea of reincarnation. Central belief of theirs is that any harm done to you is something your soul asked for in a previous life. Therefore, any harm you do to people is justified, and any harm you receive, you deserved. That's not good. But wait, the first person who reported finding all this stuff in the game posted it anonymously on Pastebin. He also mentioned Googling the first 3 terminal passwords that he found, and that led him to a thread on alternate reality games forum site Unfiction that was investigating a YouTube channel posting cryptic videos. The YouTube channel's icon? This. But this thread had nothing to do with Kanye Quest. It was posted in 2013, 2 years before anyone found the hidden room. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. So everyone knows about the Rainbow Dash Jar, but there's another cursed MLP item that fewer people know about. The Lyra plushie. This is the Lyra plushie, a homemade stuffed animal with removable trousers. And I cannot show you an image of that plushie without them, because it has a hole for you to use your imagination. The doll gained attention when it was posted on a personal items auction site in 2012 by DeviantArt user Hopip, and sold for approximately $700. It's actually like 400 something in euros, but I'm American. Obviously, this became a meme, but a few months later, an attorney representing Hasbro emailed Hopip and asked them to take down all images of the plushie from their site, which they did. Also, I guess some madman took it to a convention and had Lauren Faust sign it. Yeah, I don't think I can show it here, but it's just called the Lyra plushie if you want to find out for yourself what it looks like from behind. Call that a felt light. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. This one isn't fun so much as it is surprising, and I'm going to put a content warning right here. If you've ever been on the internet, you've probably heard this song. It's peanut butter jelly time! What you probably didn't know is that song was made by the Buckwheat Boys, a group formed by Marcus Bowens and Jermaine Fuller. But in 2002, 5 years after the group was formed, they abruptly disbanded due to the death of Jermaine Fuller. August 13th, 2002, in Las Vegas, an officer responding to reports of someone firing a gun approached Fuller, who matched the description. That led to an incident where Fuller shot that cop twice and another cop once before fleeing. Neither cop died. Fuller took 2 men hostage and barricaded himself in a nearby apartment, but the hostages managed to escape at some point later. Snoop Dogg, Fuller's brother-in-law, called him during the standoff and pleaded with him to surrender. But he did not, and after 11 hours of standoff, the police found him dead with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Everyone's heard that song, but few people know about that story. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. Obey the Walrus, or Obedience a la Morsa, is a video that was uploaded twice to YouTube in 2008 with both the English and Spanish title. To date, these 2 videos have accumulated over 36 million views. I'm just going to show you a clip of the video. Here's your warning to hide in the comments and turn down your volume if you want. Okay, we're back. So, the description for the video says that the video was created by a Spanish cult called La Morsa, or the Walrus, and that it's cursed and bad things happen after you watch it. But the description also goes on to list who the woman in the video is and where the video is from, and it's not scary at all. Sandy Crisp was a disabled drag queen and performer, better known by her stage name Goddess Bunny. And I'll tell you more about her in part 2, because she's honestly a pretty cool woman. Sandy Crisp was born in 1960 with polio, but a lot of the doctors who treated her were incompetent, and their malpractice further disfigured her. Due to this, she often used mobility aids such as crutches and wheelchairs, but she loved to dance. That clip of her tap dancing in Obey the Walrus was from the 1994 documentary about her titled Goddess Bunny. To say she had a rough childhood would be an understatement. She faced a lot of abuse because of her gender identity and her disability. But none of that stopped her from becoming a star. Sandy has several acting credits and was featured in a Marilyn Manson music video. She often performed in clubs, and for decades she was an icon and a beloved face to California's queer scene. A photo of her is in the Louvre as part of its permanent collection. Last year she announced she was running as a write-in candidate for the 2020 election. But sadly, just 2 months ago in January, she passed away due to COVID-19. Her adopted son created a video about her with Dazed up on YouTube, and I think it shows just how loved she was by so many people. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. Mr. Anime was the name that most people knew Trey Eric Sessler on YouTube by. Starting his channel in 2006, he would post mostly comedy skits and anime reviews. He's actually credited as one of the people that kickstarted YouTube's anime community back in its early days. On March 13, 2012, he posted a video titled Mr. Anime's New Job. In it, he announces that he's got a new job and he probably won't have much time to post anymore. However, this would actually be his last post, because exactly 1 week later, he was arrested for murdering his entire family. On March 20th, Sessler shot and killed his mother, father, and brother. He then continued to kill the family pets and destroy the house, writing things on the walls such as, "I love my family, I will never be able to forgive myself, and I don't know why I did this." He took all of his weapons and drove to the high school that he graduated from a few years prior. Ultimately, though, he just sat in his car for a few hours before driving away. After he was arrested, he told the police that he planned to commit a Columbine-like shooting, killing at least 70 people, and that he killed his family first so that they wouldn't be burdened with the shame of knowing what he was about to do. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. Here are content warnings for today's video. Mara Murray was a 21-year-old nursing student who disappeared on February 9, 2004, after crashing her car on Route 112 near Woodsville, New Hampshire. Though witnesses saw her near the vehicle after the crash, she fled before police could arrive on the scene and has never been seen since. This missing persons case has been the subject of a lot of online speculation due to Murray behaving strangely for about 3 months before her disappearance. But her family denies any claims that she might have intentionally been trying to run away or disappear. Her father speculated on the show Disappeared that Mara had been abducted by some local dirtbags. 8 years after her disappearance, a YouTube channel under the name Mr. 112 Dirtbag began uploading disturbing videos. These videos constantly referenced Mara and seemed to imply that the user was involved in her disappearance. The first video was titled Happy Anniversary, and it was posted on the 8th anniversary of Mara's disappearance. It's just roughly 1 minute of this man laughing maniacally. In case you thought the first video was too subtle, the second video is just titled Mara Murray. This video showed a pass for the Bretton Woods ski resort that's located less than an hour away from the place Mara vanished from. And the date on it is only 2 days after her disappearance. A third video showed this image for a moment, which people believe is a map of the ski resort, sort of. This eye blinks momentarily in the video, so the theory is that that's where her body is located on the map below. But that's a bit of a stretch. His videos kept getting removed shortly after they were uploaded, and eventually his channel was terminated. Obviously, people did more digging and reported him to the authorities. This man is actually Alden Olson, and he lives in Massachusetts, the same state that Mara lived in. He was investigated by the police, but they concluded that he was not related to Mara's disappearance and was not a threat, though the place indicated on that resort map has never actually been searched. He also runs a blog where he speculates about other Massachusetts missing persons cases, in a way that leads a lot of people to believe that he's suffering from delusions. At the end of the day, he was exploiting a tragedy for attention, and Mara's family still doesn't have any answers. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. Here are content warnings for today's video. If you've been on the internet, you probably know what Slender Man is. A character created on the Something Awful forums in 2009 and a sort of mascot for the creepypasta genre. He lives in the forest and preys on children, slaughtering without mercy. But he's not real, he's just an urban legend. 2 12-year-old girls in Waukesha, Wisconsin didn't seem to understand that. On May 31st, 2014, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire took their friend Peyton Leitner into the woods for a game of hide-and-seek, before pinning Peyton down and stabbing her 19 times with a kitchen knife. They then told Peyton not to get up, that they would find help, but they left her to die instead. The 2 12-year-olds walked nearly 5 miles before being arrested at a furniture store. And when asked why they did this, the girls admitted that they'd been planning this for months, in order to appease Slender Man and gain his approval. Peyton could barely move or see, but she managed to drag herself to a nearby road where a passing cyclist saw her. He immediately called 911 and Peyton was rushed to the hospital. Luckily, Peyton is alive and well today, recently expressing in an interview in 2019 that the attack inspired her to pursue a career in medicine. On the other hand, Wire and Geyser were sentenced to 25 and 40 years respectively in psychiatric institutions. Their demeanor during the interrogation tapes was disturbing. The girls, especially Geyser, show little remorse for attempting to murder their friend. Wire explains that Geyser had come up with the plan to kill Peyton in order to become proxies for Slender Man and prove their worth to him. And Wire went along with it because she wanted proof that Slender Man was real. This seems like an example of the phenomena folie à deux, or madness for two, when one person's delusions are transmitted to another and then believed by the both of them. There was a reaction against online horror content after this, thinking it was dangerous for children. I think this is more about how some younger kids aren't as well equipped to tell apart truth from fiction, but they're given unlimited access to the internet. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. Content warnings and an extra warning. White Power Milk was a website that gained a lot of attention in 2015. The site claimed that normal milk had impurities and contaminants. But don't worry, because for a large sum of money, a beautiful, rich white woman will gargle 2 ounces of milk, spit it into a cup, and then mail it to you. Pay extra and you'll get a video of the gargling process. How does this make the milk better? Why does it matter that they're white? Who knows? When I first saw this in 2015, I'm like, what's a fetish thing? But it was actually a project by New York City-based artist Nate Hill. White Power Milk was made to satirize, among other things, how white, rich women are viewed as status symbols. I kinda get it. Nate Hill is also known for his other artistic endeavors, such as wearing white women like scarves, throwing cheeseburgers at strangers, dressing up as Death Bear and stealing people's upsetting memories, and creating taxidermy from animal parts found in Chinatown's dumpsters. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. In 2010, a Twitter called Horse eBooks was created and started tweeting out advertisements, all tiny URL links to ebooks about horses. On the surface, these looked like spam and were treated as such, being ignored. But after a few months, these advertisements would start to be interrupted by absurd tweets that got the whole internet's attention. These tweets were, Horse eBooks went viral. A lot of people assumed it was a bot that was trying to avoid Twitter spam filters by posting auto-generated tweets that just happened to be poetic. A lot of the charm behind the Twitter was the assumption that a robot just kept happening to strike comedic, poetic, relatable gold. But other people thought, no, there's definitely a human behind the keyboard. There was a lot of search for a human behind the account, but ultimately they were all dead ends. Around this time, another spam account that seemed a little off was also getting attention, on YouTube. Pronunciation Book was a channel like many others on YouTube, posting videos so that people could hear the correct pronunciation of certain words and phrases. But sometimes their videos were odd.
Please help me escape from this place.
This got it a little attention, but people really started paying attention on July 9th, 2013, when Pronunciation Book started posting a countdown. Internet mystery enthusiasts went wild trying to figure out what it could be counting down to. Theories ranged from a reboot of Battlestar Galactica to an upcoming Bungie game. And on the final day, we got this.
Horse eBooks.
Horse eBooks. It's morning in cyberspace, and the systems are in love. A spam bot and a channel. What would the parents think?
She goes on for a while about a man named Dalton who's going to crash the stock market, and obviously people have more questions than answers. So, what was that? After uploading that video, Pronunciation Book changed the description of most of their videos to a link to the site Bear Stearns Bravo. The site hosted an absurdist satire choose-your-own-adventure game about the stock market and banking. A lot of people seemed to like it, but to most of the hundreds of thousands of people following this saga, it was a huge letdown. It seemed like the hype was far bigger than the final product. And the game's content didn't seem to have much in common thematically with Horse eBooks or Pronunciation Book. People were also disappointed to find out that Horse eBooks tweets were written by BuzzFeed employee Jacob Bacala. A lot of people liked the tweets because they thought they were unintentional. Bacala and his childhood friend Tom Bender, who was behind Pronunciation Book, are part of the art collective Cinedyne. Even though the ending fell a little flat, the fact that these people were able to turn a boring, annoying medium like spam into an art form was exciting, and watching all it happen in real time was crazy. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. I Feel Fantastic was posted to YouTube on April 15th, 2009 by user CreepyBlog. To date, this is the only upload by the channel, and I'll just show you it. Most of the video is just that robot singing, but about halfway through the lyrics change to "Run, run, please leave." And we also get a random shot out of nowhere of this piece of land? The video's description features an eerie retelling of the myth of Pygmalion. Somewhere on the internet, a rumor got started, as they so often did in the early 2000s on the internet, that the creator of this video was a serial killer, and he'd dress his creation in the clothes of his victims and make her sing that she feels fantastic because he hated how they screamed, and that random shot of a backyard is where he hides the bodies. Of course, there's literally no evidence for this, and we actually now know where the videos came from. So Creepyblog was not the original creator of that video. Someone actually managed to track down the source of that video, a GeoCities page called Android Music Videos. This page was ran by John Bergeron in the early aughts and used to promote Terra, the singing android. The entire time this was just someone's experimental music project. There were links on the site that originally hosted Terra's songs and music videos, but they're no longer available today. After Bergeron stopped updating the page in about 2006, all official media and updates for Terra were posted to AndroidWorld.com. And that's the site where, in 2018, YouTube user Yitz bought a DVD that contained all of Terra's music videos and uploaded it. So you can check that out there if you want. And I think the weird shot of a backyard can be explained. And the other videos are also shots of, tree branches and the sky. I think Bergeron wanted B-roll so it looked more like a music video and less staring at a robot for 2.5 minutes. Even though Terra's music career didn't take off, she walked so that Hatsune Miku could fucking run. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. In 2001, the website cutoffmyfeet.com was created. The site's owner, Paul Freck Morgan, claimed that he would be making a homemade guillotine to cut off his own feet. And for a donation of just $20 or $2 per toe, you could receive a video of this procedure. Okay, why would someone do this? In 1986, Paul fell out of his friend's truck and got ran over by the boat they were towing behind them, partially paralyzing him from the waist down. They couldn't do much for him in '86, but 15 years later, in 2001, medicine had improved. Paul wanted prosthetics so he'd be able to walk again, but in order to get them, he'd need his feet amputated, a procedure his insurance company wouldn't cover as they deemed it unnecessary. So he decided to cut off his own feet and ask the internet to crowdfund it. The site went viral, covered on news stations and talk radio, but despite that, only a handful of people had actually donated. Due to the lack of funds, he kept postponing the date he had planned to cut off his feet, and eventually, the year later, the site just went down. No one knows what happened to Paul or his feet. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. Blank Room Soup is the name of a popular creepy video. The video shows a man whose eyes are censored eating a bowl of soup and sobbing, while these things appear to be comforting him. It was first posted to YouTube by Renaissance Men in 2005, with the description simply saying, "We don't know what this is." But it didn't go viral until it was posted again in 2014 under the name we know it as now, blankroomsoup.avi. Lots of rumors sprung up around this video, one of the big ones saying that it was from the dark web, which I think was popularized by some ordinary gamers covering it and saying that he found it on the dark web, deep web. That's not that creepy though, anyone can post anything they want on the deep web. Other rumors said that this was this man's last meal before those costume creatures executed him, or that the soup he was being forced to eat was made with his wife's organs. But as always, these internet urban legends are backed by nothing. So we don't know for sure where the video came from, but we do know what those costume characters are. This is a character called Ray Ray, created by Raymond Percy, an American animator. YouTuber Rainbot managed to get in touch with Raymond and got a story about this video. One day while Raymond was performing, someone had gotten backstage and stolen his extra costumes. And sometime after the incident, he received the Blank Room Soup video in his email. So it seems like this video is a way for the thieves to mock Raymond for having stolen his costumes. But not everyone's convinced. Some people think that Raymond himself created the video as a PR stunt for his character. And we still don't know who first uploaded it to the internet or why. Either way, I think at least knowing the origin of the costumes used in the video puts some of the more morbid theories to rest. Or does it? No, it probably does. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. Did you know that a rare few people are born with a genetic mutation called Alexandria's genesis? These people have purple eyes, never grow body hair, and never get periods. At least that's what this Tumblr post says about it. That post was made in 2013 and has been reblogged over 200,000 times. While I'm sure a lot of these are ironic, laughing at a clearly fake disease, a lot of them aren't. There are other supposed perks to the mutation that the original post doesn't list, probably to keep at least some air of believability. such as a lifespan of up to 170 years, near immunity to every disease, and a complete halt to the aging process once you hit 40. So this is very clearly a hoax, but the weirdest thing is where it comes from. A Daria fanfiction site. A girl who wrote fanfiction for a site called Planet Daria in 1998 invented the mutation in order to justify her self-insert original characters being perfect and beautiful. A Mary Sue disease created for Daria fanfiction somehow spread across the internet and fooled preteens 15 years after it was made. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. In 1994, Pink Floyd went on their final concert tour to promote The Division Bell, the band's final album before their dissolution the following year. A press kit for the tour included this message. A spokesperson for Pink Floyd has issued the following statement. You have spotted the Pink Floyd airship. Do not be alarmed. Pink Floyd have sent their airship to North America to deliver a message. The Pink Floyd airship is headed to a destination where all will be explained upon arrival. Pink Floyd will communicate. The airship in reference was a 194-foot-long Zeppelin named the Division Bell. The airship would fly over concert locations while the band was on tour. Shortly after the release of that press kit, a series of even more cryptic messages began to be posted to a Usenet Pink Floyd newsgroup, where a user named Publius was promising a puzzle and a prize in Pink Floyd's final album. But to this day, the puzzle's never been solved. Publius claimed that there was an enigma in the Division Bell hidden in its lyrics and art, and that whoever recognized its secret message would receive a prize. But even in the early days, the internet was still the internet, full of liars and larpers. Most people just thought this was a hoax. But Publius wanted to prove his authenticity. Monday, July 18th, East Rutherford, New Jersey, approximately 10:30 p.m. Flashing white lights. There is an enigma. Trust. And on July 18th, at Pink Floyd's concert in New Jersey, this appeared on stage. And again on October 20th at another Pink Floyd concert, this happened. This was the Publius enigma. Publius was telling the truth, but to this day, it's been 27 years, no one solved it, and a lot of people suspect there was never actually anything to solve. Members of Pink Floyd have since made statements about the Publius enigma, but they've been contradictory. Guitarist David Gilmour denied any involvement, but drummer Nick Mason claimed their record label, EMI Records, was responsible. And the prize would have been trees? The lighting and production designer, who would have been responsible for this, corroborated this story, implying that the entire puzzle was thought up as a PR stunt. This could be one of the earliest examples of a promotional ARG in the internet age. But if it was just to get us talking, was it even solvable? There are definitely theories online, but no one's received the prize for solving it. There are lots of strange things that could be clues, though, such as certain symbols lighting up and creating patterns at performances, and the fact that Enigma Publius translates to the name Barry Arnold from Latin. But I don't have the answer. I was never a fan of Pink Floyd. But if you want to sit down and listen to the Division Bell tonight, and see if you can detect any hidden messages, maybe you can put a 27-year-old internet mystery to rest. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. What breeds innovation? Necessity? Competition? For the bright minds in the computer lab at Cambridge University, it was annoyance. These workers got so tired of walking across the building or down the stairs to grab a cup of coffee, just to find the pot empty, that they invented the first webcam. A small grayscale camera that could be connected to computers was aimed at the coffee pot. This camera would take a photo about once every 10 seconds, and some script was written so that these photos would be automatically uploaded to the laboratory's local network, so that in the corner of every computer in the building, a small box would show an image of the coffee pot so you could keep tabs on whether it was fresh or stale or out. In 1993, web browsers gained the ability to display images, and xCoffee was hosted online where it gained the attention of a lot of early internet users, excited to marvel at the newest advancements in technology. This continued until 2001. And this was the last image taken by xCoffee. Welcome to Weird Wide Web, a series where I talk about weird things from the internet. Some quick content warnings for today. Dozens of Reddit accounts are created and abandoned every day. Throwaway accounts are commonly used for people to post things they wouldn't want to post from their main accounts. Most of these are just embarrassing questions by people who want to remain anonymous, but sometimes these abandoned accounts leave mysteries in their wake. One such account is Flip and Flop. In April of 2017, Flip and Flop made his first and only post to the drugs subreddit. Finally got my hands on some Datura. How much should I take? The rest of the post has since been deleted, but the comments remain. Pretty much everyone was telling him not to take any, and for pretty good reason. It only takes a tiny amount to be lethal to most people. Datura is a poisonous flower also known as hell's bells or devil's trumpet, and it can have psychoactive effects when taken. But again, it's very poisonous. Despite everyone's warnings, Flip and Flop both ingested and smoked some. And over the next 24 hours, he would post a few more times before he just vanished. His thread filled with concerned Redditors wanting to know that he was okay. But Flip and Flop wouldn't post again until 12 hours later at 5 a.m. the next morning, commenting, "Google.com, how normal again, stop now." Flip and Flop went silent for another 12 hours before finally posting his last comment. Not on his own post, but on this GIF posted to the gaming subreddit, saying, "Please, these big dog are fighting, not okay." It's been 4 years and that's the last thing they ever posted. There have been many efforts to try to find Flip and Flop and see if he's okay. YouTube and Expo searched for accounts under the same name on different websites, but they all came up dead ends. Redditor SadTeen837 posted to the Internet Mysteries subreddit, saying that there were no overdose deaths in 2017 in America, but the details get a little murkier for Australia and the UK. And that's assuming he's from an English-speaking country. But since he was having such a bad trip, an overdose isn't the only bad thing that could have happened to him, especially since he mentioned in the original deleted post that he didn't have a trip sitter. I hope he's okay, but I doubt we'll ever know.